Most people see Putian as a shoe city, factories, assembly lines, the engine room of global footwear. They're looking at the wrong thing. The shoes are what the world sees. The health network is what the city owns. An estimated 80% of China's private hospitals. Cosmetic surgery in Beijing, dental implants in Shanghai, fertility clinics across the country, controlled by families from a single township in Putian. The clinics are everywhere. The ownership is in Putian. The profits flow home. This is not a manufacturing city. It is a capital settlement chamber disguised as an industrial town. Welcome to China in 5, where we map how China works through its cities. Last week we looked at Beijing, a Rust Belt district that stopped shipping raw ore and started making what the giant next door actually buys. When the mandate came to shut down, it could have become a museum. Turned its furnaces into heritage sites, sold tickets to the ruins. Instead, it kept the furnaces hot and changed what they made. It refused to become a museum. This week we're in City 38, Putian, Fujian. And here the question is different. What happens when a city's most valuable asset cannot be named? Here are the 10 things that define Putian. 1. Where it actually begins. Putian's story doesn't begin with factories. It begins in Dingxi Township, in the hills to the west, where medicine was passed down like a family craft. First traditional healers, then trained clinicians, then hospital doctors. In Dingxi, medicine wasn't a profession, it was inheritance. 2. The advantage of being overlooked. Putian sits between Xiamen and Fuzhou, close enough to benefit and far enough to be ignored. The city is unremarkable on the surface, and that turns out to be its advantage. 3. When doctors discovered ownership. In the 1980s and 1990s, the state healthcare system began to strain. Demand grew faster than supply. The value wasn't in practicing medicine. It was in owning the place where medicine was practiced. One clinic meant control. Multiple clinics meant scale. Ownership changed the game. 4. The decoy economy. The shoes came later, factories, assembly lines, global exports. They gave Putian a visible identity. But underneath that, something else was forming. A pipeline of doctors leaving the township, spreading across China, staying connected through family. The factories made products. The network built reach. 5. Pressure on the network. Now that network is under pressure, regulation is tightening. The state is demanding transparency. Informal capital is harder to scale. And the next generation is leaving for finance, for tech, for cities that don't require inheritance to succeed. What was once fluid is being forced into form. 6. Choosing invisibility. So the network chose not to formalize. It chose to disappear. No headquarters. No central brand. No visible ownership structure. The shoe industry became the answer to the obvious question, what does Putian do? And it prevented the harder one. Who owns what? 7. 2 systems, 1 city. There are 2 systems running in parallel, the official one. Factories, exports, municipal promotion, and the hidden one. Family networks, clan associations, private hospital ownership. The state sees one. It tolerates the other. Control is not centralized, but it is coordinated. 8. Capital that leaves no trace. What holds this together is not infrastructure. It's trust, rotating credit associations, family-based capital pools, money moving on reputation alone. No contracts, no audits, no external visibility. This is capital that moves faster than banks and cannot be easily regulated. 9. Filling the gap. Putian operates in the space the state leaves open. High-margin private healthcare, cosmetic surgery, fertility treatment, premium dental. Services the public system does not provide at scale. The state does not endorse it, but it allows it because it works.
10. Why Putian matters to China. From Beijing's perspective, Putian is not just a city.
It is a question. For decades, China's growth has produced systems that operate in the gray space. Not fully regulated, not fully illegal, but tolerated because they solve problems the state does not want to solve itself. Putian is one of the most complete versions of that system. A network built on kinship. Capital that moves without paperwork. Ownership that exists without visibility. That worked when scale was small and oversight was loose. But the system is changing. Healthcare is being formalized. Capital is being tracked. Opacity is becoming harder to maintain. Putian now sits at the point where that world meets the state. If the network adapts, it becomes a model. Proof that informal systems can be absorbed into the formal economy without losing their power. If it fragments, it becomes a warning that what grows in opacity cannot always survive exposure. Beijing does not see Putian as an anomaly. It sees it as a preview. Because the real question is not about one city, it is how China governs what it does not fully control. That is the identity, the visible city and the one beneath it. If you want the full structural breakdown, how the rotating credit associations work, how the network governs itself, the vulnerabilities it faces, the deep dive decodes the architecture behind this transformation. The companion essay explains how Putian fits into China's broader system, the gap it fills, the tolerance it buys, the inflection point it now faces. Both are linked below. Next week, Jiaguan, most cities build on what they produce. Jiayuguan built on what it was already holding. A steel town with a dormant asset, the western terminus of the Great Wall. When the high-speed rail arrived, the gate was ready. The steel financed the gate. The gate outlasted the furnace. What a city shows is not always what it owns. The visible economy explains the surface. The hidden one explains the power. Every city is a piece. Together they form the system. This is China in 5.